Kingdom Hearts is one of my favorite games from my childhood. I absolutely love this series, even if Nomura keeps testing that love with his story that branches from each game. For those who don't know about the series, Kingdom Hearts was an interesting premise to begin with, combining Square Enix characters and Disney. It's almost like something like this would have almost no way of working together, but in a weird way it does work. However, seeing Donald Duck and Cloud standing next to each other is a little jarring, but just stay with me here for a second. Kingdom Hearts was released in 2002. The initial idea began with producer, I'm gonna butcher this, Shinji Hashimoto and Final Fantasy creator Hironobu Sakaguchi about Super Mario 64 and wanted a game just like that. However, Mario being the big bad boy that he was, they felt like nothing could match its power except maybe Disney. Nomura, hearing this, volunteered to lead the project, and the two producers gave him the go-ahead. Now all they had to do was find some way to get Disney on board. And it's not like Disney would randomly show up in an elevator and allow for this partnership to take place. They what? Oh, that's how it happened? Oh. After this, they decided to go ahead and start the process. However, there was a disagreement between who the star should be. Disney wanted Donald Duck to be the main protagonist, and Square wanted Mickey Mouse. Nomura said that neither would work, and came up with Sora. His original design was slightly different than the one we know today, having a chainsaw sword and a lion-esque appearance. Wait, no, that's the protagonist of the bouncer. Okay, hang on. There we go. Kingdom Hearts was released in 2002. The plot was set with a heavy amount of darkness.
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 Darkness. Darkness.
Darkness.
And Nomura set up a lot of lore that left questions on purpose and left it on a cliffhanger to see if that would ask for a sequel. And I don't know, you tell me if that worked. Well, what does the series mean to me? I've been playing the game since I was 7, constantly, even if I didn't really understand what I was doing all the time. But I had played and replayed this game countless times, and I love it. But I'm going to look at the game with a critical eye and see if it still holds up to anyone wanting to jump into the series. That being said, let's jump right in with Kingdom Hearts. For the sake of the review, I'm going to be looking at the PS4 Final Mix Remastered title, since it's the most recent version. So the game starts off with Sora, a 14-year-old kid from Destiny Island who spends his time with his friends by racing, beating up each other, and doing fetch quests. He's been having weird dreams recently that acts as the tutorial that teaches you the basic mechanics of the game, where he's standing on top of these stained glass pillars with Disney princesses on them. He's hearing voices that turns out to be King Mickey, although I don't think the game ever tells you, and he says you'll be the one to open up the door. What door? Doesn't matter, because Kairi says to stop snoozing and go get food for the trip. You see, his friend Riku wants to build a raft and wants to see other worlds. And yes, they're just friends, nothing else, no matter what the fan community may tell you. No, seriously, there's no hitting feeling for it. No, put it away! Put it away! No. Bad. After the gang collects everything to finish the raft, we cut over to
Disney World,
where Donald, the King's Magician, and Goofy, the King's Royal Guard, find out that Mickey has left and is trying to see why the worlds are disappearing. So, the Disney crew sets off to go find the missing key. Literally, because back on Destiny Island, Sora sees a storm that might destroy their raft and leaves Dexter's mom. I swear it's the same voice actor, doesn't matter, you'll never see her again. He goes, and the black creatures from his dreams are destroying the island. Sora runs over to see Riku. Riku says that the door is open. Sora rightfully doesn't know what he's talking about, and is engulfed in darkness. But then a light appears, and now he has the Keyblade. But no time to worry about that now, because he runs off to his secret hidey hole and sees Kairi, who and this sends him flying off to go fight his giant shadows from his dreams. After beating it to death for the last time, no, seriously, he's gone. He's not coming back in every single game. His world is engulfed in darkness and ends up in Traverse Town, a place that shows up for people that have lost their world. Thanks for the contingency plan, universe. If Trump ever blows up the world, at least we have Traverse Town to go to. From here, he meets Final Fantasy characters Squall and Yuffie.
That's Leon.
It's Squall. And Aerith. The black creatures are called Heartless. They are attracted to the darkness that lingers in people's hearts. They will capture hearts, turning those people into Heartlesses themselves. What they fear is the Keyblade, the sword that gets things done. Sora's weapon that can slay the Heartless and release the captured hearts and lock the hearts of the different worlds that Sora must now go to. Yes, each world has a heart that if the Heartless find, they can take it and make the world fall into darkness. Sora, being thrusted into this world, honestly just cares about where Riku and Kairi are, which are nowhere to be found. Before he can do anything else, the Heartless show up and Sora goes to find the world's boss, but then crashes into Donald and Goofy, quite literally. They manage to find off the Heartless and abduct Sora with them so they can find their king. Sora agrees since he can't leave otherwise, and hopes to find his missing friends Riku and Kairi. Because who cares about Titus and Walker, right? Unbeknownst to our heroes, a group of Disney villains are trying to locate the Princesses of Heart and take over their respective worlds. After that, they go to the different Disney worlds, and their story are bastardized versions of the original story worlds, including Wonderland from Alice in Wonderland, Olympus Coliseum from Hercules, Deep Jungle from Tarzan, Agrabah from Aladdin, Monstro from Pinocchio, Atlantica from The Little Mermaid, Halloween Town from The Nightmare Before Christmas, and Neverland from Peter Pan. And in some cases, they have nothing to do with their original plots in the case of Coliseum and Halloween Town. What is nice about these worlds is they got the original cast members to reprise their roles. Most notably is Catherine Beaumont, the voice of Alice and Wendy. Granted, if you don't watch or care for the Disney films, then they don't amount to a whole much, but it makes everything more whimsical if you have seen them. However, from a story point, they don't matter a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. Sora and crew just stop the Heartless and the respective Disney villains, seal the world's keyhole, and that's it. They leave and go on to the next world. The gang doesn't know where Kairi and the King is, but halfway through their adventure, they run into Riku, who's being manipulated by the witch Maleficent, making Riku mad at Sora for going off to make new friends. Which Riku also did, so he can find Sora and Kairi.
Double standard!
I didn't make up the gay rulebook. You got a problem with it? Stop. Take it up with Liberace's ghost.
A lot of teenage angst back and forth between the two. No! They're just friends, Internet. God, I swear the amount of Sora x Riku pictures could fill a hard drive. Anyway, Sora versus Riku, light versus dark, one gets the girl. This is based off Disney and you play the hero, so you know who wins in the end. That's right, the power of friendship. Because you see, Maleficent, the main bad guy, is collecting the princesses from each world to get the Great Keyhole, to get ultimate power. Which is the only reason why you need to go from world to world, besides finding your friends. Kairi, as it turns, is the 7th Princess of Heart. Riku finds the body, but her heart is missing, leaving her body in a state of limbo. Maleficent tells Riku that it's the Heartless's fault, and that he only needs to be stronger to get it back. Which Riku blindly heads towards the darkness, runs across Ansem, the Seeker of Darkness, who comes out of nowhere unless you've been reading the answer reports. Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, voiced by Billy Zane in this game and Richard Epcar in every game after this one. To keep this simple without making this confusing, because it will after this one, he's a scientist who learned how to make artificial heartless by using people's hearts till he lost his body to one and now is this heart in a cloak. Hey, I said this was less confusing. He's the real antagonist for this game and many games after. Ansem, the Seeker of Darkness, tells Riku that he can help reach his full potential if he only lets him inside. Wow, a lot of gay overtones in this series.
Kairi's inside me?
Yeah, after one more collide with Riku, Sora finds out that that happened on Destiny Island is that her heart went inside him, and now Sora has to kill himself to free Kairi so she can be whole again. Sora stabs himself with the Keyblade of Hearts.
What you say? That you only meant well.
Causing Kairi to wake up, then a complete Ansem comes out and has taken over most of Riku's body, but Riku, through the power of friendship, holds off Ansem so that way Kairi, Donald, and Goofy can escape. But Sora fell into darkness and turns himself into a Heartless. But you see, Sora is only mostly dead.
Well, it just so happens that your friend here is only mostly dead. There's a big difference between mostly dead and all dead. Please open his mouth.
Kairi can tell that this shadow is Sora because that Sora's calves looks the same as this Heartless. With one magical hug to make Sora whole again, this whole action causes a chain of events that will unfold in later titles, but that's for another video entirely. See, Sora seals the final keyhole and runs into the end of the world, a place where worlds go to die that leads to Kingdom Hearts, where Ansem thinks that he will get an unlimited source of darkness. Sora, Donald, and Goofy defeat Ansem, with the door spewing out light, defeating Ansem, but the door can't be left open and requires 2 keys and 2 hearts, one on each side of the door. Thanks to King Mickey and a returning Riku, they're able to close the door for good, and most of the world consumed by Heartless are restored to their original form, and leaves Riku and Mickey on the other side of darkness. Riku tells Sora to take care of Kairi. Sora agrees, then tells Kairi not 2 minutes later that he would return home because he's going to get Riku and Mickey back. Because who cares what Riku says, right? Kairi returns to Destiny Island, where she would wait for the boys to come back, and Sora, Donald, and Goofy are on this winding pathway, wondering what are they going to do. But then see Pluto, with a letter from Mickey, deciding to give chase in hopes of finding his missing friends. Yeah, this game is left on a cliffhanger, because after you beat the game on a certain difficulty, or seal all the worlds and find the 101 Dalmatians, you find the secret ending that shows off the next game, and it looks really cool. But Nomura left this game unfinished on purpose in hopes for another game. This was because he wanted people to ask questions and speculate. Well, it worked so well that he did that with every single title after this, whether they needed to exist or not. And for being the first game in the series, I still enjoy this game till this day. There arguably hasn't been a Kingdom Hearts game like this since this one, and whether that's for better or for worse, it left an impact and laid down the groundwork for more series in the franchise. The game has aged, being an HD remaster of a Japanese re-release on the PS2. You can see the differences between them using the in-game character models and the animated character graphics, which can look really awkward at times. Awkward or not, this game still plays really well. However, I only say that because, like all the games in the series, it's really easy if you don't play on a high difficulty. The game itself is great for all ages, but if you're an experienced gamer, you need to play this game on a higher difficulty if you want any kind of challenge out of it. With the fact that the game can be enjoyed from all ages, it's not a bad thing in my opinion. That just means anyone can enjoy the game. Graphically, the game looks good, and it just goes to show that it looks better in HD. The music, what can I say, is amazing. A lot of the fighting music is great, remixes some of the original Disney worlds, and the original pieces are great. At the time of this recording, they actually have an orchestrate remaster of some of these songs. Give them a listen if you have the chance. The control for this game works well for how the game is set up. There really isn't a whole lot of platforming, and unless you're fighting in Atlantica, the fighting mechanic is better in the remix version of the game, but there are times that Sora will fight airborne enemies, and it can send him flying off a cliff, which doesn't kill you since it usually throws you into a different part of the level, but it can be difficult if you just want to open a chest or use a switch, a thing that would be fixed in later games of the series, thankfully. To talk more about the gameplay, to get technical and sound like I know what I'm talking about, Kingdom Hearts is an action real-time RPG. You experience points, net you new abilities, more HP, strength, and magic. You get new weapons for Sora by completing a world or doing a specific task, or even finding them in a chest. Donald and Goofy's weapons can be bought or dropped by enemies, or by completing tasks like Sora. You can cast magic from the Final Fantasy series: Fire, Blizzard, Thunder, Cure, Arrow, Gravity, and Stop. And use Summon, but from different Disney characters like Simba, Genie, Bambi, Dumbo, Tinkerbell, and Mushu. Genie and Mushu can do alright, not my cup of tea, but man, I wish I knew how good Tinkerbell was when I was a kid, because she is basically regen and auto life in one summon. And unlike the other summons, she doesn't make your entire party disappear. What I mean by that is that she constantly heals you, and then when you're full, she'll heal your party members. You see that, Donald? That's how you do it. Then if you take mortal damage, she'll bring you to full HP and then leave. Donald and Goofy are your main party members throughout the game. You can use world-specific characters like Tarzan, Aladdin, Peter Pan, Beast, and Ariel. But these things called Trinity Marks, and unless you have Donald and Goofy, you can't activate them. All these characters are cannon fodder, because you as the player are the only really competent one among the bunch, and pro tip, whenever you get a new party member, strip them of their equipment and potions. Trust me, they just waste them. Any items to boost your strength, magic, or AP, just give it to Sora. Whatever is not your best equipment, you can pawn off to Donald and Goofy. Are they useless? No, not entirely. Donald can heal you if you're low enough, and if you press the triangle button, or you lock onto a faraway enemy and tell them to go be meat shields, while you pop an elixir or a quick Curaga and Arago, so that way the big boys can handle things. Oh boy. Alright, time to talk about this. Okay, look, the gummy ship missions are not fun. They're a means to get from A to B, and honestly, I've been playing this game as a kid, and I still have a hard time navigating the gummy ship menu. So take the default ship, put some guns and engines on it, and blast off. Then when you get the warp drive, you never have to drive it again once you visit each world once. The different worlds all have some unique thing about them, and it's cool exploring the worlds from these movies and interacting with the characters from these games. Granted, Sora's first jump he gets is really heavy and slightly hard to maneuver for long jumps. However, these are for those who want to get everything they can get from the start, but to progress the story, you shouldn't have too much trouble. Later on, you get the high jump, the glide, and the super glide. So moving around is great, feels good. I love just going to a world and gliding around. I finished the game around 17 hours, even though I was playing with the starting equipment because I played this game to death, so I wanted a different challenge. But after I beat the end boss, I went back to the COLISEUM, fought the 3 secret bosses, well, technically 5, I won't spoil it here, and went to the synthesis shop so I could make the Ultima weapon. Which, this playthrough marks my first time actually getting the Ultima weapon, which was something that I've always wanted to do. Just because, well, they were good challenges. These were fun things to do to extend gameplay. So after playing this game with a critic's eye on it, what do I think? it's still a really great game. I've poured so many hours into this game, and I loved every minute of it. This game is something I always try to revisit and play every so often. The fact that it was remade on the PS3 and PS4, and I still own all copies, says more about me than this game. But I still think it's a great time for all ages. The story is the easy of the series, but that's because it was the foundation for every game after it, and it makes more questions than it answers. Some with each installment, whether that's bad or not, I don't know, but seeing the fans and the heavy community the series has says a lot. So if you haven't already, go out, get this game. It's on multiple consoles, but get the PS4 version if you can, because Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out next year by the time of this recording. At least I pray to the game gods that it does. But I'm 99.99% sure that it'll come out next year, come hell or high water. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again real soon.